In today's video, we're talking about the euro, the pound, and the DXY, as the euro did break out on Monday. However, I have my doubts about this market, and I'll share my thoughts in today's video, including key levels to watch, some potential targets as we move through the rest of the week, and also, of course, the latest on the DXY. And the DXY is really interesting because there is one level that you have to watch this week. And guys, if you want my help with your trading, be sure to check out the link in the description of this video for 85% off lifetime access to our VIP Discord. That's going to give you access to my trades in real time, entry, take profit, and stop loss, and also daily trade setups in the VIP Discord, as well as just market updates in real time in there, access to over 1,000 traders, and also access to the full course plus VIP only videos. So be sure to check that out. If you're on the website, click on that join VIP link. All right, guys, looking at the EURUSD. So we discussed this on Monday. Now, we did have a breakout on Monday. So you can clearly see here that if I move out, this is the trend line that we talked about recently off of that February low down here. And you've got this consolidation over the past few months that you have this trend line up here off of that July high, and then you have this February trend line off of these lows. So the market was coiling here between these two areas over the past few weeks, and we did get a breakout on Monday. Now, here's the thing about this breakout. So I mentioned in yesterday's video and Monday's video that one reason I didn't really love the euro breaking out on Monday was the fact that it was early in the week, and there really wasn't a lot on the event calendar, so the conviction level behind this move could be a little bit lacking. And so far today on Tuesday, we are seeing the euro rotate lower and retest this area as new support. Now, I want to be clear, there is no trade setup right now, in my opinion. Okay, this is a market that broke out on Monday, is retesting so far today. However, my concern here is the way that the market is retesting this level. A lot of times when you get a market that breaks out and then it returns exactly to that level the very next day, that is an indication that it could be a failed break, okay? Now, in order for this to confirm, though, you've got these highs back here. So 117.15 here, 1.1715 for the euro is going to be the level to watch here. If the euro does close the day back below here, then you have a failed breakout, and that would be bearish for this market. Now, of course, the tricky part with that is that you've got that February trend line that comes in just below these current levels. However, the thing with that, though, is that if this turns into a failed breakout, okay, still a big if, but if this does turn into a failed breakout on the daily chart, what you tend to get with that is an extended move in the opposite direction. So we talk about this all the time. I've mentioned this for years, but when you get a failed breakout, you tend to get that extended move in the opposite direction. And so for the euro, that could potentially mean a move back here toward this area down here around 115.64. So you've got this poor low, this unfinished auction off of that low right here. And then you've also got this area down here around 114.40 that is an imbalance from this massive move back here, this big candle that we saw back here, very shallow retrace into that. So you do have this imbalance down here for the euro as well that could become really interesting if we do get that confirmed failed breakout here on Tuesday. But again, 117.15 is going to be the level to watch here as we head into Tuesday's close. So with several hours left in today's session, this could really go either way. We could see the euro bounce from here and hold above this as new support. So again, the last thing you want to be doing here is trying to short this before you get confirmation, because if you're shorting here and the euro bounces, then obviously you're on the wrong side of the trade, right? So in my opinion, the best thing to do here is just to wait to see where today closes. If we're back below this mark here, today's low, right there at 117.15, if we're down here in this area convincingly, then I really think this is a failed breakout and we get that push lower, right? Now, if the market does hold above here, then you have it holding above support, and then you've got that target up there around 117.90 potentially, okay? So still some work to do here for this to set up, but all in all, guys, again, I don't like Monday breakouts. I don't like early week breakouts or even Friday breakouts, just because the conviction level behind those breakouts is often lacking. So we could have a trade setup on our hands, and again, these areas down here, this unfinished auction down here in this area, and that imbalance down there around 114.40 could become, potential targets for this market if we get that confirmed setup here. But again, 117.15 will be the one to watch. Now, looking at the pound, and by the way, guys, if you enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button as well. It really does help out these videos. Now, looking at the pound, we're going to talk about the pound first, and then I'll get into the DXY, because I really think the level in the DXY is going to be the one to watch this week with these markets. So obviously the pound, very sideways still. We talked about 115.80 recently, so these highs back here and these lows, this was going to be resistance this week. Sure enough, the market found resistance right there at that mark. Now, another level to watch here on the intraday charts, if we go to something like a 4-hour time frame, is you can see back here at 135.44 or so, you've got this level off of these highs, right? So highs back here, closing prices through this area, this high, and these closing prices. Now, at the moment, the pound right now is, holding below this area, okay? Now, whether or not it holds below this on a 4-hour closing basis into the daily close, we'll have to wait and see. But if it does hold below here, then this starts to look pretty bearish here for the pound. But again, I really think the euro below 117.15 and the DXY below the level we're going to discuss here in a moment will give you more clues on where this market is likely to go. But again, if it holds below this area here, then it starts to look a little bit more bearish. And you can see we have some unfinished auctions down here at these lows around 134.84 and also 134.18. So right now, guys, the pound bottom line is the pound remains sideways here between this range that we've seen now for weeks. So really no change on that front. As I've said, you did not want to be getting long into this level here. The only way, and we talked about these imbalances back here at 137, but the only way this up here became a viable target was if the pound got above this level. We had to see it above this level on a daily closing basis for this to become a viable target. So far, though, like I said, the market is still just range bound like we've seen here for the past few weeks. Okay, so interesting, not as clean as the EURUSD, though, in my opinion, especially if we do get that failed breakout from the euro. Because for those who know how I like to trade, I mean, this is basically my bread and butter setup. If we were to get the market closing below here and giving us that failed breakout, this is pretty much all I trade these days, guys. And they don't come around all that often, but when they do, they're really, really profitable. So in my opinion, the euro is a little bit cleaner than the pound here. I mean, yes, you have a really nice range here on GBPUSD, but the fact that we did get the breakout on Monday here for the euro and now potentially closing back below here again, big word there, guys, keyword there, potentially. That right there could set up a really nice opportunity here over the coming days and weeks. Now, let's flip to the DXY because this is going to be, in my opinion, the market to watch here when you're trading the majors, just because 97.70 has been so clean for this market. So looking back here over the past few weeks, obviously the DXY very sideways between these areas. And we did see a breakdown here on Monday. Okay, so Monday closed well below. Again, I don't always trust Monday breakouts or breakdowns just because the conviction levels can be lacking. Institutions really haven't plugged back in for the week. And so this Monday breakdown here is at risk of failing. Now, what's going to be key for the DXY though, for this to set up, okay, is the DXY has to get back above this area around 97.70. You can see where today's high is right off of that mark as I make this video. So it's still trading below resistance. And that's really the bottom line here, guys, is a lot of times when I make these videos, people will say, if this holds as resistance and just continues lower today and doesn't close back above, people will say that, oh, you were wrong, you got this one wrong. And technically I didn't, because what I'm saying here is that this right now is resistance. Technically 97.70 is resistance following the Monday break. However, at the same time, what I like to look for are failed breaks, right? Because I know that if we get that, it then becomes a high probability setup to where we get dollar strength up here toward areas like this. Okay, now again, I'm not saying it's likely right now because the market is technically holding below that mark. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I am looking for, the close back above 97.70. If we get it, then I think we have a setup on our hands. If we don't, then again, this remains intact as resistance. And you've got these lows down here, also those unfinished auctions around 96.60. Okay, so unclear as of now. Again, we have several hours left in Tuesday's session, so we'll see how this goes. And I'll be sure to update those in Discord. If you are in Discord, I'll be sure to update you guys as this unfolds and also any trades I place, especially on the EURUSD. Okay, now as for potential targets, if we get the close above 97.70, again, big if here, but if we get that, then 98.44, we've got an unfinished auction up there. We also have this area around 98.83. Okay, so unfinished auctions off of both of these. If you guys aren't familiar with those, basically in TPO terms, what that tells you is that the market profile at these times, at the time the DXY was carving these highs back here, the market profile indicated that sellers were not finished. So a lot of times markets will revisit areas like this up here. Again, you also have these areas down here. So if the market holds below 97.70, then we could just get that rotation lower into this pocket. Okay, so it's also still on the table as of now. Okay, so unclear, guys, across the board here for these markets, but I really think that 97.70 for the DXY is the one to watch. If we look at the EURUSD, you've got that area around 1.1715, all these highs back here, and also that trend line off of that July closing price. Okay, so I really think that this region through here, right off of that daily low right now, as I make this video, is going to be the one to watch for the EURUSD as we head into the rest of the week. All right, guys, I hope this video helped. If it did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. Also, join us in the VIP Discord. See the link in the description for 85% off lifetime access. Trade well out there, and I will talk to you again on Wednesday.